What happens when an entitled HOA president mistakes someone's private garage for her personal parking spot? You're about to witness one of the most satisfying acts of petty revenge that turned an entire neighborhood upside down. This story will have you questioning everything you know about boundaries, respect, and the sweet taste of justice served cold. Before we dive in, drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. We love connecting with our global community. And if you enjoy stories about bullies getting their comeuppance, hit that subscribe button because we've got plenty more where this came from. Meet Marcus Thompson, a quiet IT specialist living alone in his modest two-story home in Charlotte. Marcus kept to himself, followed the rules, and never caused drama. His daily routine was clockwork: coffee, keys, garage remote, car out, garage down. Simple, predictable, peaceful. Then there was Beverly Patterson, the 53-year-old HOA president who ruled the neighborhood like her personal kingdom. With her perfectly styled blonde bob and ever-present clipboard, Beverly treated every homeowner like a potential violation waiting to happen. Grass too long? Citation. Trash bins out too late? Photo evidence and a stern email. Kids playing too loudly? Safety violation. For years, residents walked on eggshells around Beverly. She'd built her identity on control, using HOA bylaws like weapons to maintain her iron grip on community standards. What she didn't realize was that her reign of terror was about to crumble, all because of one monumentally entitled decision. On that fateful Thursday evening, Marcus returned from work to find something that made his blood run cold. His garage door was closed, something he never, ever left that way. As the door slowly lifted, revealing what lay inside, Marcus couldn't believe his eyes. A pristine silver Lexus SUV sat parked in his garage as if it belonged there. Not blocking it, actually inside, taking up space next to his tools and bicycles. Standing casually in his kitchen doorway was Beverly herself, arms crossed with that familiar look of smug authority. "Street parking violates community standards," Beverly announced without a hint of shame. "I had a board meeting and couldn't leave my car on the curb. Your garage was unlocked, so I used it. Temporary situation." Marcus stared at her in disbelief. "You broke into my house." "It wasn't breaking in," Beverly snapped defensively. "The door was unlocked, that's practically an invitation. As a homeowner here, you should appreciate that I'm preventing violations. Cars on curbs make this place look like an apartment complex." The audacity was breathtaking. Beverly had somehow convinced herself that Marcus's private property was her personal parking solution. But instead of exploding with anger, Marcus remembered something that made him smile inwardly. His Puerto Rico vacation was starting tomorrow. 10 days of beaches, rum cocktails, and zero HOA drama awaited him. Marcus made a decision that would become neighborhood legend. Without another word, he calmly picked up his pre-packed suitcase, walked Beverly out through the front door, and pressed the garage remote. The heavy door rolled down with finality, sealing Beverly's precious Lexus inside like a very expensive prisoner. The click of the interior door lock was the last sound Beverly heard before Marcus climbed into his rideshare, leaving for the airport while she stood sputtering about board policies and community rights. As Marcus's plane lifted off for San Juan the next morning, Beverly was already in full panic mode. Her calls went straight to voicemail. Her texts remained unanswered. Her emails bounced back with Marcus's out-of-office message, limited access until the 14th. 10 whole days. Beverly had trapped herself in the most ironic way possible. What followed was a masterclass in natural consequences. Beverly, who owned only the family sedan that her husband needed for work, suddenly found herself relying on the very neighbors she'd spent years tormenting. Every ride request became a reminder of her spectacular misjudgment. The HOA board meetings turned into intervention sessions. Carolyn Ruiz, the treasurer, didn't mince words. "That's his house, his lock, his space. There's nothing in the bylaws that gives you that right. You've gone too far this time. Even Beverly's husband Douglas had reached his breaking point. "You don't keep order, Marjorie," he told her bluntly. "You control. And now your SUV is trapped while he's sipping margaritas somewhere." The neighborhood transformation was swift and merciless. Residents who once feared Beverly's citations began openly mocking her predicament. Someone left a toy car on her driveway. A paper plate appeared on her mailbox labeled "Reserved Parking." Kids drew chalk pictures of garages with cars trapped inside. Beverly's attempts to reclaim control only deepened her humiliation. She begged the local handyman to drill open Marcus's garage. He refused, calling it breaking and entering. She visited the police station, only to be told she was lucky Marcus hadn't pressed trespassing charges. Meanwhile, Marcus was living his best life in Puerto Rico, checking his phone each morning to find increasingly desperate voicemails from Beverly. He never listened past the first few words before hitting delete, then heading out to explore cobblestone streets and dance at salsa bars. By day 7, Beverly's situation had become neighborhood entertainment. Gordon Hayes, a retired postal worker, organized garage watch gatherings where neighbors sat in lawn chairs with beers, staring at Marcus's driveway like it was must-see TV. The story spread beyond the community when a teenager managed to snap a photo of the trapped Lexus through a gap in the garage door. Posted on local Facebook pages with the caption, "HOA President Takes Her Own Rules Too Far," it went semi-viral in Charlotte circles. Beverly's desperation peaked on day 9 when she attempted to pry open the garage door with a screwdriver in broad daylight. A patrol officer had to intervene, explaining that she was attempting breaking and entering on camera while half the neighborhood watched. When Marcus finally returned on day 10, the entire street seemed to be waiting. Porch lights blazed, families lingered outside, and phones were ready to capture the moment. As his garage door lifted and the crowd erupted in applause, Beverly came storming across the street in full fury mode. "This has gone on long enough," she screamed. "You release my car immediately." Marcus's response was devastating in its simplicity. "Looks like it's already released. All you had to do was wait." The exchange that followed stripped away Beverly's last shred of authority. When she demanded respect for her position, Marcus delivered the final blow. "Respect isn't something you demand with a clipboard. It's something you earn. And you've just spent 10 days proving you don't have it." Beverly retrieved her Lexus in complete silence, the woman who once commanded fear now unable to meet anyone's eyes. But the story's real victory wasn't her humiliation, it was the neighborhood's liberation. For the first time in years, kids played basketball without fear of noise complaints. Garden gnomes reappeared on lawns. Wind chimes sang freely in the breeze. The community that had lived under Beverly's thumb was finally breathing again. Marcus had accomplished something remarkable without raising his voice or making a single threat. He'd simply drawn a boundary and enforced it with patience, proving that sometimes the quietest stands make the loudest statements. Beverly's reign of terror had ended not with a dramatic confrontation, but with the simple realization that respect built on fear has no foundation. When that fear disappears, so does the power, leaving only the echo of authority that never really existed. The lesson? Entitlement has consequences, boundaries matter, and sometimes the best way to deal with a bully is to let them defeat themselves. Marcus didn't need to destroy Beverly, he just needed to stop enabling her, and she handled the destruction all on her own. This story reminds us that true power comes from respect, not fear. And when someone mistakes your kindness for weakness, sometimes the most powerful response is the quiet one that lets their own actions speak the loudest. What do you think about Marcus's approach? Was 10 days too long, or exactly what Beverly needed to learn her lesson? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about justice served with a side of sweet, sweet karma.